Hello everybody and welcome back to Chapter Master. Alright, now, before we carry on, just one quick thing. So, a lot of people have been asking me about my tutorial videos and guides and things like that. And I am willing to do more of those wherever I come across something I think that should be explained. But for the meantime, I've actually taken the liberty of putting them all together in their own separate playlist in the playlist section. So all of my current tutorials, install guides, things like that, are in one convenient place. So if any of you want to access any of those, they're all there. Save you having to sift through like 300 of my Chapter Master videos to find the one you're looking for. So yeah, other news. According to the analytics, my Chapter Master videos have an average viewer duration of 11 minutes, so that's pretty awesome. Nice to know that I can keep someone's attention span for at least 11 minutes. Because honestly, that's higher than my attention span. Ooh, look, a bird outside. Anyway, back to the point. So, yes, those were the two little bits and pieces I would like to get out the way. Alright, now, on to today's video. Today's video is, I actually want to do a bit of playing around with the Librarian course. So I've created a chapter that has a chapter master who is of course a psyker, and I also gave him the unique Primarch, mini Primarch bonus as well, just to beef him up a bit more. And I'd like to see how he does. So we're just going to throw the Librarian core into some situations and see what we come up with. So I think this should be a bit of fun. Sorry, I'm just admiring all the different armor and the flames and stuff. It's for some reason that's pretty metal. Anyway, so that's what we are going to do. One chaplain, really? Also, the flames on the back are pretty metal. Crazy. So I want to see how well the Librarian core can do, and what sort of immediate negative or unnegative penalties I would have. Now, I haven't actually given the Psychers Witchfire or any of the other variables. This is just playing around with telekinetic psychic powers, more to see what the baseline attrition rate is on Perils of the Warp without actually, investing in Psychic Hood. So I'm going to dump a few Marines onto some low, like every Psychic that doesn't have a Psychic Hood on a low level planet, just to see what sort of psychic powers and what sort of abilities they can kick up, as well as how many of them I suffer attrition due to Perils of the Warp as a baseline. So I think we will raid these guys until they're down to pretty low, and then we'll send in the Librarians to see what they can do. Okay, immediately, first battle, we suffer 1 Peril to the Warp. That's kind of interesting. Alright. Now, I'm going to unload these guys, and we may as well a couple of apothecaries on the planet as well, because I'd like to see how 15 Psychers do. Alright, they start off by using their bolters. Alright, they kick up with their psychic powers. They're only killing 1 or 2 Marines. Oh, it's a bit better. Interesting. So, default Psychers. Shoot, they get their ass kicked. Default Psychers with no force weapons or psychic hoods. See, psychic hoods just do 50% minus chance of perils. But the more you go, the more powers you go. So low level Psychers are just kind of garbage, really, it would appear. How about we select all of you and load you back onto the ship. And it's kind of interesting. Although they can take on that level of enemies, but alright. On the bright side, we can go fight some orcs. This is kind of interesting. Like, with only one psychic power available, the basic entry-level psychics suck. Now, let's have a look at some stats here. So they've got Power Sword, which is 120 damn melee splash. Force Weapon is 400 damn melee splash. Now that is a significantly more than 120. Although, again, just for fun, I'll take the 8% discount for weapons. How many Force Weapons have we got? None. Let's just buy a couple. I'm curious. Can guys who do not have psychic powers use psychic weapons? Yes, apparently. So that's 400 damage weapon right off the bat. That's interesting. I would have thought that you would have restricted them to psychers, but there we go. Also, just as a question, it does 60 damage. No, it costs 60 and it's for 400 damage, right? What does another equally powerful weapon cost? Chain Fist is 300 damage. Lightning Claw is 230 damage, and they're half the price. Thunder Hammer does the same, does 100 less damage. Nice Cutter. What about something 300 dam, 230 dam? So really, Force Weapon is the most expensive melee weapon on this list. However, it does at least 100 damage more than any of the other weapon types, which is something you would like to see on a good day anyway. So that's kind of interesting. How much damage does the Mastercrafted Force Weapon do? 480 damage. Alright, that's not bad at all. Add 80 damage to it. Oh, is that influenced by the 10% melee? Even so, it is a significant chunk of damage right off the bat. Now, Psychic Hoods. They cost 46 and they reduce Perils of the Warp by 50%, which is a good investment considering how damaging Perils of the Warp can be. Man, we're getting SDCs in this playthrough all the time. It's crazy. Might as well take it. Meh. Now, Baracia. This will actually be good to throw against some orcs. Because I'd like to see how well Psychers do against orcs. So we'll raid these guys, which if I know my mass, we'll get them down to tiny. And then we'll send the Librarian Corps again. 22 Slugger Boys are destroyed. See, that's the type of damage you'd like to see from your Librarians. Oh, we may as well select everybody. Screw it. Rather than just the weaklings. And I suppose we better shove a couple of apothecaries. Oh crap, I left them behind. This is just a playtest playthrough, so it doesn't matter hugely. Throw some apothecaries there as well, for my curiosity. And we may as well launch a full strength raid, because we're not going to have any librarians on this raid. So I wonder how effective, well, that was a poor example. I guess bolters are more effective than psychic powers. Go offensive. I'd like to see how... It seems like the psychers rely more on their guns than their minds. Load back onto the ship. Select all, load back onto the ship. Unload, you may as well unload them onto the sparse world. We'll leave the Chapter Master / Chief Librarian behind because it's probably a wiser idea. Now, let's launch an attack with the local forces. I'd like to see what if the apothecaries... Alright, Chief Librarian goes first. Makes sense. Lexicanum and Codiacearies, about 1 kill per enemies. Alright. It depends on the psychic powers. See, he's killed 7, but most of these guys are only killing 1 enemy at a time. Which kind of makes me think that guns are more preferable, because I seem to be getting more kills and damage. The psychic powers seem to take a bit of a while to actually kick into the fight, unless you're using just the Chief Librarian, who has, as we've established, a bit more pizzazz with this. See, 400 damn melee splash is good, but all of them have suffered a few pepperings from enemy attacks. Alright, we'll go deal with some more orcs. Why have I made an enemy of the Ecclesiarchy? All I did was help save one of their silly shrine worlds. See, they only have 1 power. Well, these guys have 3. So we need to get... These guys need 90 XP. Why has he got 72 XP? Maybe it's... oh, yeah. Because he'll need to level up to get access to Lexicanum, and then from there he'll need to level up. So these guys need 90 XP to get Codiacearies, which gives them 3 psychic powers over the standard 1. These guys, I'm guessing, will need to get to 130, and that gives them 1 extra power. That's a bit of a... See, that guy has 6. You would have... Yeah, I suppose. Different sort of stats. I guess the powers they can use is probably not the worst in the world. You definitely want to give these guys psychic hoods, because they do have more psychic powers they can use. Which means more chances of Perils of the Warp if they're throwing around their psychic power more often. And I think that's fine. Interesting indeed. Alright. Now, what if we give these guys a bit better weaponry and armor? That's actually, it does pose a question. Gives them Mark 6, which gives them +2 armor class, +2 within range. But that does pose a question. I guess that wouldn't really affect their psychic powers, because psychic powers are a different category. Kind of pity that this doesn't really give you the beaky helm on the little models there. Because this is the Heresy mod, so it's assuming it's the early Mark 6 variants, which still had the beak helm, so I'm not sure why it doesn't have the beak helm here. Boosh. That goes Mark 6. Now, again, psychic weapons cost... Again, that's an interesting thing, because your force weapons... 400 damage, you're paying $60, so it's kind of... It is really expensive. However, as I was saying, a power axe is only 130 damage, but it's only $10. So it's $50 cheaper, but you're also down basically 380 damage. However, for low-level librarians, let's Architect Marines, low-level Librarians. Because it starts off these guys with power swords, and then the later guys have force weapons, so it's not a stupid idea to, if you're using a more combat-orientated Psychers, to actually give them better weapons. But personally, I would have, because Psychic power, the Psychers seem to just, you know, fire, as I said, decent damage and offer useful buffs. Well, you'd be better off placing them behind the lines of the Tactical Marines so they can use their powers more than you'd be likely to use them for actual melee. So you wouldn't really invest in better armor or weapons for them. You'd more likely be just buying them a shitload of psychic hoods to mitigate any, you know, greater demons of Slanesh that they're likely to summon, and keep these guys in the back line. You can't really be like the Thousand Sons Legion and have shitloads of combat psychers on the front lines kicking ass, because the mechanics of the game don't quite allow for that. These are forts, and psychic hoods are $40 each, so you'd be putting a lot of investment into your psychers for that. See, 10 of them cost, well, 460. That's like quite a significant chunk of money. And even then, I don't even have enough to give them all psychic hoods. We do have enough to give them all power axes though. Oh, they look a bit better as psychers. And it just leaves these free red-headed stepchildren who can't afford them. See, I don't really think there's much value in kitting out your psychers in this way. Honestly, I think the best value for money is in terms of damage, has always been Dreadnoughts and Assault Marines, because they're right on the front line for attacks. Yeah, Apothecaries and Chaplains with jump packs, so you'd place a couple of Chaplains with your Assault Marines, give them all chain axes, you know, chain axes in the low level, and then replace them with power axes as you can afford it. Maybe buff their armor to be, isn't there an armor class? Isn't it Mark 4 that gives you? Yeah. And then buff them full of, say, Mark 4 as your later. Oh, Tyranids versus Orcs. That's kind of fun. Alright, let's see. Now we've placed our Librarians back. See, they don't even have a chance to use their psychic powers against low level. Let's try a heavy attack. Just a standard raid. The only difference is we've moved the psychers back 1. See, the Chief Librarian and the Chapter Master can go, because they've got shitloads of initiative, and they can actually, you know, kick out their psychic powers. But it seems from... It actually seems from this that putting your Librarians back open in the back line, actually, yeah, because the Chapter Master's the only one psychically going. So to even give them a chance to be in range to use their powers, you need them at least with the Chapter Master. So let's just raid the Orcs. This should be a bit more of a kicker fight. Alright, Dreadnoughts, Stomp and Smack. They've got to melee range. Yeah, the Chapter Master and the Chief Librarian go first. Is that... How much experience and... See, they've got 550 experience, 180% ranged attack. He's the same, 550 experience. Yeah, so realistically, all you're getting is your Chief Librarian and the Chapter Master if he happens to be a Psyker in terms of this. Now let's just chuck these guys. Again, this might be a variation to see how different psychic powers work, because I know flame powers tend to actually be quite much more damaging and punchy, whereas biomancy is useless and rune magic's even more useless. So realistically, you've only got gravity powers, fire, and default, because the other two are garbage. I think gravity powers are the weakest. I would say default and then fire, believe it or not, in terms of the actual potential damage of psychic attacks. Well, we may as well see if on just by themselves. Well, we do want awesome psychic hood. Well, that's kind of fitting, but I was actually going to see if how these upgraded psychers do a bit more. See, again, it's only the chief librarian who gets a chance to actually kick his powers into gear. The rest of them are just using bolters. Yeah. This is kind of more my thoughts on just... Because I've never actually really thought about psychers. The only time I really think about them is when they fuck up, or when I occasionally notice the blue writing on the screen. But in this particular case, I'm noticing that the psychers are not as powerful as I would have thought they would have been. They're actually pretty piss weak. See, again, the dreadnoughts do more damage, the devastators attack the flanking guys, and the assault marines attack after the dreadnoughts. So, honestly, for battlefield strategy and investment of money, I'd be investing in dreadnought chassis and buffs for your assault marines, while ensuring your devastators have got decent firepower. Like your librarian corps. See, those are your hirelings. See, yeah, your librarian corps just don't seem to do too much. Another question of the day. Got 10 of them. This might be actually a nice little test. Let's see if giving you jump packs, where that'll put you. If that'll put you with the assault marines. If that's the case, may as well just use the capital ship. That's the case, do you actually get the chance to use your powers more? No, because again, the dreadnoughts steal your kills. Maybe I need a larger force and sparse to hunt. Again, the chief librarian gets the first kick. Alright. Now, Garradon, massive warp explosion that knocks. Those are the dreadnoughts again. So the dreadnoughts get the kill, and we've got our first negative psychic thing. Psychic Garradon. So, he did have a psychic hood. And it knocks him down to 35 HP. Interesting. Alright, well, we may as well go see if there's any orcs or anything exciting to fight. This is just a throwaway playthrough, remember, so we don't need to be so paranoid about what things we find. What local forces? It's a dead moon. I'm surprised there were anything on there. Man, there's nice artifacts around the place. I guess the chapter master himself can go request orders with that one. Ah, yes, tomes. Sorry, I heard the word tome and that made me think of Toma, and that made me think of Index, which I've been watching lately. Alright, so it's a psychic hood, polished adamantium, gold filigree. Well, what about we give that to, say, the chief librarian, because I'd like to know what that does. Artificial Psychic Hood 0. That doesn't seem right. It should read minus 50% peril chance. It's not Chaos Corrupted. Well, we'll see how he does in the next battle, because that would be fascinating. Aha! Now, tomes give your troops that you equip them to psychic power, an additional psychic power. So, for example, we gave it to this guy, he would have 4 psychic powers instead of 3. We gave it to the Chief Librarian already knows all 6 powers, so I don't know if it would give him an extra one or not. But you get the idea. This one's infected with a demonic entity, which I don't imagine would be the wisest solution to do. Although we could. I mean, there is a fort pattern there. Let's just launch a conventional attack, because well, can we attack these guys? I'm trying to see at what point the psychers kick in. Alright. 180 assault marines. 6 librarian. So all of the librarians are there, even the ones that have jump packs. So it doesn't actually give the librarians to the assault marine section like it says it does to apothecaries and chaplains. Also on this front, the librarians never even fired a blast. What about in a raid? This is really making me think about bothering to invest in librarians at all. See, the Chief Librarian's the only guy who's bloody kicking his powers off. And he's killing 22 slugger boys a time, so that's pretty decent. Maybe if we get rid of the 500 escorts and just see how well these guys do themselves. Again, it's just Bolter and Blade. Maybe this is why the Black Templars don't have Psychers. Maybe it's not because we're anti-Psyker. Maybe it's just because, fuck it, a Bolter seems to work is just as well. Yes, I know about Euphrates Keeler and the Gene Z defect and that accident with the rogue Psyker they killed. All the canon reasons they don't have librarians, but I'm joking for comedic effect. I'm hilarious. That's what I tell myself every night when I cry into the mirror. The joke is, I don't even cry. I stopped the ability to have tears years ago. Alright, well, I'm almost conducted my tests. I would like to conclude that Psychers seem kind of rubbish. I mean, yeah, they can kill a few orcs here and there within good time, but it's not the greatest ability in the world for them. So he was playing with demon engines. And the game crashes. Well, that was convenient timing. Oh well. Farewell, guys. That was today's testing of Psychers. I think next time I'm actually going to put my money where my mouth is and invest shitloads into Dreadnoughts and Assault Marines and see how well they do. Because I honestly think they are the MVPs of any raiding battle.